Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. It's Friday, so it's Justin Fan Day here on the show. Justin Fan from Underdog Fantasy, Mike Gallagher from Established Run, of course. The two best in the industry at breaking down injury news and information. Justin, how are you on this fine Friday?
Doing well. Refreshed from the trip to Mexico last week and ready to
Nice.
get back on the grind.
Nice. It's a little early in the season to, gone fishing in Cancun, but, one, two, three. Glad to have you back. Gallagher, you are decked out in Dame gear after the Dame flag plant last night. The people in the DFS streets were very happy about that. How are you on this fine Friday?
Doing great, and I came fully prepared for starters jersey talk. This way, yeah. This guy right here. It's not Mobley. You'll see the braids, and you'll see Karis LeVert's skin tone. That is Karis LeVert in the background. Don't try to hide it on me, Cavs. I got you figured out. They show all these other pictures. They don't put Karis. No clean shots of Karis, but there he is. In the background, we are fully prepared for starters. I was ready for you, fan. I'm not.
Yeah,
third times I would have been canceled.
It was a lot easier when I was trying to decipher Dean Wade, but we've done Dean Wade finger in the background watch.
Yep.
We've done it all.
This one's probably better. I think the hairstyle. I mean, even the jumper looks like LeVert, right? Like it's clearly Karis LeVert. So,
all right. Well, let's start there. Cleveland and Sacramento are the big questionable tags on this slate to start. On the Cleveland side, as you can probably tell, we're on starter jersey watch because Donovan Mitchell is questionable and missed shoot around today. Justin, what are your thoughts on his likelihood of playing tonight?
Yeah, not obviously the greatest. And to confirm what Gallagher said about LeVert, a reporter actually said earlier, about an hour or two earlier, that it was LeVert in that starter's jersey. So we just have a 1-game sample this season on November 13th when Donnie was out and Garland was in. The other game, both of them were sitting out, and Garland just went absolutely crazy, 51-6 in that lone game. Karis LeVert elevated to the starting lineup. It looks like if Mitchell's out, 18% usage rate as a starter, 22% usage rate as a reserve. He's done, fine as a starter, 13, 5, 4.5, and 33.5 minutes per game. But yeah, Garland is the headliner here, and then really great spots for Evan Mobley and Jared Allen too against his Kings interior defense, or lack thereof. And great to see Jared Allen in his first game back. I mean, he played a lot more than Evan Mobley even. Allen got all the way up to 38.5 minutes on Tuesday against the Lakers. So good spots for all those three, especially if Donnie's out tonight.
Yeah, I'll add. Bickerstaff said after the game that Allen had, quote, fresh legs. We saw he would have got more than 38 if not for garbage time too. So he looked fantastic. He scored 20 in the first half. I want to say didn't he go like 10 of 11 or something. So yeah, he looks really good. I love this matchup for Evan Mobley. But yeah, Darius Garland's been really turning it up drive wise. Last couple games he's been driving. Pretty much tied for the league, or up there. He's up like 3 or 4 drives per game over the last couple, and that's going to be the foundation of their offense, especially with Donovan out. We know Karis will be a factor, but this is going to be the Darius Garland show. His matchup may change, as we will get to, but yeah, I'm expecting a ton of Garland today.
Yeah, and to follow up as well, those Jared Allen minutes got really elevated because Kevin Love was in foul trouble too. There will not be Kevin Love tonight. Right. He's listed out. So big minute ceiling once again for Jared Allen. Big size advantage for Evan Mobley, for anyone that they could potentially put on him. This is a potential spot to definitely attack without the giant usage rate of Donovan Mitchell. Potentially, that's what we're thinking will be the case out of the Cavs lineup tonight. On the other side, as Mike alluded to, the matchup could change for Darius Garland because De'Aaron Fox is questionable. And Mike, you were once again on starters jersey watch.
Oh, I'm on it, baby.
Well, so why don't you share with the class?
This guy in the upper left, man. You'll notice that Davion Mitchell, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes,
and
Keegan
Alex
Murray,
Len.
and Sabonis. Well, that's their third and fourth string guys that have signed jerseys. I knew you guys were going to say that. I'm ready to go. But,
Dink's always trying to rain in your parade. It's only right.
I know, man. Dink hates starters jersey watch. This is my life, man. You guys are watching World Cup and stuff? Hell no. I'm grinding starters jerseys. But yeah, I'm so kind of like a interesting thing that they signed Trey Burke to a G League deal. I thought that was interesting timing. So yeah, I'm expecting Fox to sit. Davion starts. Davion will play a bunch. Obviously, they're going to need his defense. We'll see Matthew Dellavedova, this guy in the foreground here, who was the picture was meant by Spencer Davies. Shout out to him. Basketball News. This is not about Matthew Dellavedova. This is about starters jerseys. Like every picture that comes on the internet, that's all we do here. So I'm expecting a big roll out of Davion. Matchup should be pretty good. Should be a lot of value to be had with Davion out of the mix. Bad matchup for Sabonis, but I expect Davion to play really a lot. We've seen different coaching staff, but we've seen his minutes really get elevated. Dellavedova will cut into him, so I wouldn't expect like 40 or anything, but he's got a pretty good shot at like replacing all Fox's minutes.
Yeah, with Fox, I think it's really important to add some context. So Fox suffered this foot injury back on November 5th. He's been playing through it. It's a foot bruise. He had an MRI that revealed that foot bruise. He said it can't get worse, and it's about pain management at this point. Jason Anderson of the Sacramento Bee had an article on him, I think yesterday or the day before, that said Fox said he doesn't expect to miss time. So even though he's not in that starter's jersey at shoot around, I still think there's a shot that De'Aaron Fox plays because he has been playing through this issue. He's also been playing with a non-COVID illness and a minor thumb injury that he suffered on November 30th. So we'll see, like over the last week or two, over the last 5 games, his play has been really impacted by these variety of ailments and issues, averaging like 15, 5, and 4, 40% shooting, 28% from 3 over the last 5 games. So even if Fox says he wants to play through this and it doesn't expect to miss times, he should be sitting out just because it's clearly impacting his performance. He's been passive on offense. We've seen him limping during games at points, and then he's just said it bothers him a lot. So maybe this is the kind of the Kings being proactive and noticing that it's really impacting his play and holding him out for his own good so he can get healthy and get back to like all-star levels. So we'll see on him. He wants to play and he has been playing through it, but this could finally be the time where they hold him out.
Yeah, Mike Brown was actually asked about him being injured. He gets asked it like every game. His minutes aren't really truly elevated, or he gets something going, or he has a bad game, and he's like, no, just dealing with the normal bumps and bruises. So Mike Brown kind of denying it, but the injury reporting, obviously, with this Q tag, definitely suggests otherwise.
I'll also add on Terrence Davis. We got some context on his injury as well. He was close to returning on Wednesday, but experienced a setback and aggravated that back injury during practice on Tuesday. He went through shoot around and pregame warmups on Wednesday, but he was really stiff, wasn't able to move, was just taking set shots. So I think he has a decent chance of missing this one again as well, just given his quotes and how frustrated he was about the aggravation. So if you take out Fox and Terrence Davis, it puts even more on Malik Monk and Davion Mitchell and even Matthew Dellavedova. So it could condense the guard minutes even more. So that's something to keep an eye on it as well. Just the status of Terrence Davis with De'Aaron Fox in question too.
They might play a little bigger as well, just to add against the matchup. So we might see a little bit more Lyles at the 4, things like that to help guard Mobley.
The last thing I'll note before moving on is Davion Mitchell. The role in the past when De'Aaron Fox has been out has been really huge because they've used him as a true point guard. This year, they've sort of used him off ball a little bit more, especially in that second unit, and given Malik Monk a lot of that responsibility. And you look to the starting unit as how they could potentially do that. And Kevin Huerter could be a guy that, like, under the radar might benefit more than you think if this new coaching staff is less enthused with Davion Mitchell running offense and more wanting him as like a spot up shooter defender from the point guard spot. So we have seen Davion Mitchell be very successful on a point per minute basis when De'Aaron Fox has missed, but that was last year. It looked like a little bit of a different role to me. So just be aware that it also could benefit from some other starters in that starting lineup. Okay, let's move on to Indiana, where Miles Turner and Isaiah Jackson are questionable. Indiana's injury report has been lush with questionable tags the last week and a half or so. Justin, what are your thoughts on the Indiana big men tonight?
Well, Turner played 33 and a half minutes on Wednesday without any reported issues. I didn't hear anything that he didn't feel great or was laboring at all. And 33 and a half minutes tells you that he wasn't really restricted much. So I would assume he's in, and this is just kind of a placeholder Q tag for Turner. Jalen Smith not on the injury report, so he should get back in the starting lineup, bump Aaron Nesmith out. We should note Turner 27-10 with 5 blocks against the Wizards earlier this season. We like attacking them on the inside, so this could be a good spot for Miles Turner. And then could also see maybe Benny Mathern or someone else getting starting lineup. Rick Carlisle continues to talk about how they're off to slow starts. So could see something there on the wing as well. Would think it's Buddy Hield, just given how well Nembhard's been playing. So could see something like Hallie, Nembhard, Benny Mathern, Jalen Smith, Miles Turner tonight.
100%. I'll add back-to-back's a factor here with them playing tomorrow. We saw the last time they ran a back-to-back set, they set out Miles Turner. That's when we had a big Andrew Nembhard game. So, yeah, I think it's going to be – I think his status is very much tied to Isaiah Jackson. If Isaiah Jackson can't go today, I would expect Turner to play. If Isaiah Jackson can go, they might sit him out on the front end, play him tomorrow, something like that. But this hamstring thing is, not serious. I think it's just a management thing there. We haven't really seen much detail there. But, yeah, as you mentioned, Carlisle's not a big bluffer on talking about starting lineups. I feel like it's like 65% or so.
Yeah.
When he talks about wanting a starting lineup change, he follows through with it. So I'm with you.
It was that Spurs game, Gallagher, where they just got lit up in that first half and got killed. I think I bet the Pacers that game, and they changed the starting lineup the next game. So I mean, he's shown in the past he's one of the coaches that we've seen even in game, second half where he's willing to change starters. OKC obviously being the big one with Diagonal in that front court, but I think there's a good chance that we see something switched up today. And good note about that back-to-back with Miles Turner. We might be like a trade management tag for Turner rather than the injury management there.
Yeah. And matchup's important to note too. Not a lot of size, right? And I don't think they really want to put Jalen Smith on Kyle Kuzma or any of that combination or whatever they're going to do. So I wouldn't be surprised if they start just a wing happy lineup here. And basically taking I mean, they might take Hield and just run this small lineup that's on the screen from last game where they run Nembhard and Nesmith as their two primary defenders. Obviously, Howie at the point. Still have basically you're putting in Mathurin. I agree. I think Buddy Hield is like by far the most likely candidate to be booted because just defensively, he's just such a liability and he's getting really attacked. And when teams have strong first quarters, he's usually in the foreground of those bad quarters.
All right, let's move to the other side of that game where, they're without Bradley Beal, the Wizards, but they also have Will Barton and Kristaps Porzingis questionable on the injury report. So we could end up seeing a massive workload for Kyle Kuzma tonight. You look at like guys who can create their own shot for Washington. If you take away Beal, Barton, and Porzingis, it gets really thin out there. So, Justin, what are your thoughts on the likelihood of Kristaps Porzingis or Will Barton missing tonight?
Yeah, so KP hurt his ankle early in the first quarter on Wednesday after he jumped to contest the shot, stayed in for a little bit before heading to the locker room, came back out and returned early in the second quarter, played through it, played 35 minutes, didn't look too bad. So if this was a island game where it's not a back-to-back, I wouldn't really be concerned about his status, but this is the first leg of a back-to-back. So that's really the main concern here with KP. They're more cautious with him on the front leg and then play him on the second leg. We'll see there. Will Barton, 18 minutes off the bench, short foot. Didn't really hear anything about his injury or any details there. We saw Anthony Gill start the only game that KP missed, played just 15 minutes, but would expect it to be Daniel Gafford to be the one that starts if KP ends up missing, play 25 minutes that game, but Rui was healthy for that game. Rui's out tonight, obviously. So good path for minutes for Gafford if KP ends up sitting out. We'll note on the Barton stuff. So Denny got all the way up to 39 minutes. On the show, I gave up Denny Hires just because that last matchup with DeMar DeRozan necessitated him to play a ton with his defense. He played a ton. Got up to 39 minutes. Kispert got up to 35 and 39 minutes in his previous starts. We've seen that ceiling for him. So if Barton ends up missing, could be big minutes workloads for both Denny and Corey Kispert in this one. Could see Jordan Goodwin get back up to like low mid-20s minutes in that instance. But yeah, I mean, we've seen with KP off the court, Kuzma plus 5% usage rate differential this season. And then a sneaky guy, Monte Morris, plus 5.1% usage rate differential with KP off the court. And, his minutes floor is elevated right now without Bradley Beal. So I could see a bit of a condensed rotation tonight, if KP and Barton end up being rolled out. Big minutes from Monte, Kispert, and Denny Avdia in this one, potentially.
Yeah, matchup wise, I like it for Monte. I think he's in a really good spot. He'll probably get Halliburton as a guy who I like to attack. Denny will be getting the Halliburton matchup, which actually, he's kind of been picked apart against like really strong offensive players because they don't send a lot of help his way. So that's worth noting. And yeah, just with the KP stuff, as you mentioned, he stepped on Alex Caruso's foot. Said after the game he felt fine, but he wanted to see how he quote can cool down after the injury. Wes Unseld called it a quote a mild sprain. So I think the back-to-back's pretty much the main reason. We'd be saying like, oh, he's playing, but back-to-back is certainly why there's a little bit of doubt here.
All right, let's move over to the Hawks, where they've been without John Collins. DeAndre Hunter is listed as questionable, so that's a little bit of good news, but they also lost DeJounte Murray, and they should get Trent Forrest back, potentially from the concussion protocol. We'll see. But they're shorthanded. Atlanta's really, really shorthanded. Their depth has been tested, and their depth was a concern coming into the season after they traded much of it to get DeJounte Murray. Now there's no DeJounte Murray. In the very small sample without DeJounte Murray on the floor this year, Trae Young's had like a 47% usage rate. So be prepared for Trae to do as much as he possibly can to keep the game competitive against Brooklyn. Justin, what are your thoughts on if we see DeAndre Hunter tonight?
So Hunter wasn't able to fully practice on Thursday, which is a bit concerning. McMillan said he's feeling better, but wasn't able to even go through a walkthrough. So I think there's a decent chance he misses again tonight, which would mean another start for AJ Griffin. So we'll see on DeAndre Hunter. Would be pretty brutal because they're running out of guys to guard KD and Kyrie. We were trying to figure out who starts, and that person would have to start guarding Kyrie because obviously it won't be Trae. Yeah. So I am a little bit concerned about some blowout risk here. We saw how bad the Hawks offense looked because they're so Trae centric. They don't have DeAndre Hunter either. So and you have Ben Simmons coming back today guarding Trae. So this could be kind of ugly. But yeah, Aaron Holiday started the second half and DeJounte's place on Wednesday. So figure he gets the start tonight and gets the first shot against Kyrie Irving. Bogdanovic's minutes are still kind of being limited, 22, 23, 25, the last three. But yeah, I mean, the usage is going to be, two players tonight. It's, on Wednesday, DeJounte played with 3 minutes before he dipped out, and Trae's usage was 36%. Bogdan was 30%. So it's going to go through those two guys. And then basically the DeJounte minutes are going to just kind of be collectively soaked up between a bunch of guys, Justin Holiday, Aaron Holiday, Trent Forrest, Jarrett Culver. And, we have 482 players that qualified for per 36 value. The ranks of these other guys is horrendous. Justin Holiday, 456. Aaron Holiday, 439. Trent Forrest, 444. These guys just don't do enough, to really be excited about any of them, even if they're going to be stepping into more minutes. So it's the Trae Young show. It'll be Bogdanovich, so he's not going to play a ton of minutes. It's tough to get too excited about anybody outside of Trae on the Hawks side, and that's even not factoring a potential blowout risk here. It's up to 7.5, and we saw how bad they looked against the Knicks. So not too excited here to attack, on the Hawks side.
Yeah, Trae has been ultra aggressive. He's leading the league in drives since he had his shoulder injury in the last 2 games. Small sample, but he has really, really been trying to put pressure on defenses. And now the role is just going to be, he has the best role today.
Yeah.
The Nets defense has been very good. They've been, top 3 or 4 half court defense as well. So adding Ben, and I mentioned the matchups, like, are we getting late October Ben or late November Ben? If we're getting late November Ben, like you're saying here, bloodbath. I didn't bet this yet, but when if and when Hunter gets rolled out, I'm probably heading there. Yeah. Because how does this team even put together 2 defenders? Like, they've got Aaron Holiday to cover Kyrie. Are they going to put Justin Holiday and then bench Jalen Johnson and start that way? I mean, maybe, but you can't put Jalen Johnson on him. You can't put AJ Griffin. You can't put Trae on him. I mean, you're screwed. Yeah. So, I think the Nets have a huge
advantage.
And just as soon as Hunter gets ruled out, I'm probably just firing away. And should mention too, on top of all the notes you had that were very good, he's a slow healer, man. I feel like we're just frequently waiting. It's mostly his knee stuff, but it certainly seems like he's very unlikely to play.
So you guys, do you feel confident that Jalen Johnson is starting regardless, or do you think if Hunter's in that, okay, you think that starting spot is up for grabs as well? It could be AJ Griffin, could be Justin Holiday.
AJ Griffin's safer than Jalen.
I think I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then if they're both out, you think there's even a chance that Jalen Johnson still doesn't start there because of the matchup, and they try to go to Justin Holiday because of the KD matchup? Or
yeah, Justin Holland's been so buried though in that depth.
Yeah.
He's like the 9th or 10th man in. I mean, he's fallen.
I mean, they might start Culver, man.
I think Culver would be a better. I think Culver.
Yeah. He's got some length.
Yeah. It's ugly. It is.
And we saw
that division winner this year might not crack 500.
Yeah. To your point on the Culver stuff. Remember when Hunter got hurt? Well, we remember because we had AJ Griffin in overs.
Yeah.
And Culver started the second half. This is obviously a different scenario because going into a game and figuring out your rotation is way different than figuring out your rotation in game. Mm-hmm. So I think Culver probably has a pretty good shot to start if Hunter's out.
Okay, let's move over to Memphis, where Steven Adams is questionable on the injury report. They're still without Desmond.
I'm going to grab my phone really quick. I'll be back.
They're still without Desmond Bane, of course. They've also got Jake LaRavia doubtful. Kenny Chandler listed available. The G Leaguers, Kenny Chandler, Kenny Lofton, Vince Williams, all listed available. The Steven Adams questionable tag against the Detroit team, where you don't really need Steven Adams, feels like a potential veteran rest day. Any thoughts here, Justin, on his likelihood of playing tonight?
No real details from my end on that injury or probability of playing. I just naturally always, gravitate towards the more probable side because he plays through stuff. But I think it's pretty straightforward here. You want to attack this Pistons team on the interior like always. So Brandon Clark would be, in a really good spot if Adams ends up missing. They don't have a ton of depth there, so he would probably be in for 28, 32 minutes, somewhere in that range. So I don't have too much other information to add on Adams' injury.
100%. Yeah. Great matchup. I almost covered boy John Morant today. I think he's just going to give Killian Hayes hell. He's going to kill Killian. But
the run out for my best ball ranks this year, where we were low on Ja and high on Desmond Bane, has gone really poorly with this Desmond Bane injury. really, really, really poorly. All right, let's move over to the Pelicans. No Herb Jones still, no Brandon Ingram. Gallagher, you left the note that CJ McCollum still appears not completely over the illness, and Jose Alvarado is questionable as well tonight. Gallagher, I'll start with you since you left a note on CJ McCollum. Any additional notes you want to leave on the Pels and whether we see Grand Theft Alvarado tonight?
So McCollum's really been struggling, both statistically and just watching him. He hasn't really been able to separate. After the game, Willie Green said he's still dealing with the effects of being out for protocol. So it's been a really big theme this year, right? I mean, we've seen just frequently these guys just cannot get right, and we could talk about that when we get to the Lakers here. But I would expect modest minutes. He's going to probably get put in Mikal jail. I would expect Torrey Craig to get the Zion matchup. Zion is my matchup cover boy today. I think Zion completely wrecks this Suns defense, which has really been struggling lately. 23rd in the last month. Their last 3 or 4 games, they've been torched. They do not look right defensively, as just teams are getting whatever they want on them right now. But so it should be the similar starting lineup here. I don't think Alvarado being out would affect too much. They're going to need defense, so I think they may go to bring in Garrett Temple a little bit, not for a lot, but that would help Dyson Daniels mid-stealing quite a bit because he's used just role-wise. Him and Alvarado in that bucket, so I think he would play a little bit more if Alvarado's out. And now it was a scary injury for Alvarado, so I wouldn't be surprised if he misses.
Yeah,
there should see a lot of Trey minutes. Obviously, Zion's been playing awesome. Talked about him a second ago, and then we got the Joe Val, Larry Nance stuff at the 5. And Najee Marshall also had a really fantastic game too. So he's another guy who could really benefit just being put in that on-ball defender bucket without Alvarado there.
Any other notes to add there, Justin?
No, I would think Alvarado has a decent shot at missing this one. When he ran into that screen, it looked like he might have cracked a rib even. So I was a little bit surprised he was a contusion. He was back on the bench, heavily padded afterwards. But I think there's a decent shot. And Zion. I remember, they last played Phoenix early in the season, late October. It was a Friday. I was ready to come in the show and praise the play of Zion. Ingram and Herbert out for that game too. So this is like a similar spot where I thought you would just murder inside. So I'm fully on board with Zion in this one.
All right, let's move to Utah, where Mike Conley is questionable, but we're hoping back. He was labeled as expected back last game and then late ruled out. No Colin Sexton. He's going to be out for a little while. And then Lauri Markkanen, who was a surprise late scratch last game, is questionable with this illness that we've seen impact like a third of the league at this point. Justin, what are your notes on the Jazz tonight?
So we just got a quote from Conley a couple minutes ago about his status tonight. He said, "I am hopeful to play tonight regardless, but with Colin Sexton out, obviously it kind of helps make the decision a little bit easier." So we were expecting him to be back on Wednesday, I would fully expect him back tonight. A bit of a minutes limit, but yeah, Sexton injury, like Conley said, makes the decision a bit easier. So Conley and Markkanen were both getting work in after shoot around, getting shots up. So would think both have a good shot to play. Markkanen obviously was a surprise. He wasn't even on the injury report and just got straight rolled out. So would expect that starting lineup to be Conley, Clarkson, Markkanen, Kelly Olynyk, and Walker Kessler tonight.
You think Walker gets the start again?
I do. I think, there was a quotes about it being more about Looney and them needing more size in that front court. But he played well enough to, quit himself and draw another start, I think. So that's what I would expect them to go back to Olynyk and Kessler in that front court.
I agree. Their defense has been real bad. They are last in the NBA the last month. The Spurs don't count. The Spurs are last, but everyone scores on the Spurs except for the Rockets, apparently. But I agree. I feel pretty confident Walker Kessler is going to start. So Vanderbilt will still get minutes. Kessler pretty foul prone, so I don't think Vanderbilt's totally cooked. And should note too, if Lauri Markkanen isn't right, Jordan Clarkson, before getting tossed, he was aggressive. 30 drives from Jordan Clarkson. But if Lauri's out, and it sounds like he's going to play, that's where does Jaden McDaniels go? I think Jaden McDaniels, if Lauri's in, would get Lauri, and then if he's out, he would get Clarkson. So it's kind of it can't really have it both ways for if you're looking for Clarkson to take advantage of this spot. And I noted in this, I think first basket bets are really stupid, but there's times when Chris Finch, he draws up the first play to Rudy Gobert to get him going. Revenge game. I think that the Wolves run a Rudy pick and roll, which is the foundation of their offense now. So I actually, for the first time in my life, I bet first basket prop.
The degeneracy,
the full degen. Yeah, I bet first quarter stuff now, man. The Discord
the quick slide into degeneracy.
The timeshare on Narrative Street isn't going to pay for itself. We gotta hit a couple first basket bets to pay off the mortgage.
Clearly,
I only put $50 on it. It's a stupid bet, but
this game does.
I will be so annoying.
We just got word Conley got officially cleared to play tonight.
Okay,
so
great.
Yeah.
This game does have
Tim McMahon was all over
narrative. All of the narrative, all of the revenge tonight. Jared Vanderbilt, Walker,
and matchup
Rudy
too.
Gobert, Malik Beasley, everybody. This was the big trade of the offseason, so everybody's got a little vengeance in their heart. Should be an interesting one to watch. Timberwolves fans, if you tune in tonight and you see Walker Kessler outperforming Rudy Gobert, I wish you a pleasant Friday night because remember your fan base. It's always a choice. You can walk away at any time. You don't need to let them make you miserable. And if you see Walker Kessler putting up 16 and 10 with 6 blocks tonight, just walk away.
Spoken from true life experience as a Bulls fan.
As a former Bulls fan, exactly. They don't have to hurt you forever. All right, let's move to the doubtful and outs. The questionable tags, a little bit light for a regular Friday show. Doubtful and outs, no Obi Toppin tonight for the Knicks. Mm-hmm. They had just kind of condensed things to a 9-man rotation. How do they adjust the rotation in the absence of Obi Toppin? Justin, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so Tibbs said he likes RJ Barrett as a power forward if Obi is out for an extended period of time, which he is out for an extended period of time. So we saw Tibbs run an 8-man rotation without Obi in the second half. Obviously, those starters and Deuce McBride, Emmanuel Quickley, and Isaiah Hartenstein off the bench. So we saw a season-high 27 minutes for Deuce McBride. He played 19 and a half straight minutes in the second half to close the game on Wednesday. So I think we could see pretty much an 8-man rotation. They could slide some,
there's some Steve Mikhailuk rumors.
Yeah, those are garbage time minutes for what it's worth. But I think he likes to condense it. I mean, Tibbs is a madman. We know his history with playing his guys big minutes. So this could really bolster the minutes floors of a lot of players here. Julius Randle got up there, played a good amount in the first half. So we're going to see smaller lineups, and Deuce McBride deserves to be out there. Deuce McBride, Quentin Grimes have really given some stability to the perimeter defense, especially of the Knicks, and they've improved on that end. I think they're like top 10 or something over the last 5 games after being, bottom 10 for the majority of the start of the season. So obviously that personnel switch, benching Derrick Rose and getting Evan Fournier out there has really improved on them on that end. So yeah, I mean, we're going to see RJ at the 4 a lot more than some smaller lineups moving forward without Obi.
Yeah, their best 2 defensive games have been the last 2 games, based on points per possession. And a big reason why is Quentin Grimes has been freaking-tastic. Yep. They're going against the worst offense in the NBA. Mitch Rob is going to go off. I'm a full donkey boy because well, this isn't a donkey bet, but I got Mitch Rob double plus 195. Best. I love Mitch today, man. I think that having a tighter rotation could help him. His minutes have been a little bit stronger now, not fouling as much. The Hornets give up more blocks per game by a full block per game than anybody else. They just get swatted like crazy. So very much a Mitch Robinson spot, and could see again, like I talked about this last time, that the fact that the second unit is getting shrunk down, it's not like a full unit. Tibbs is so first unit, second unit driven that the first unit is just such a better look for him. So he's really playing these guys a lot. Joyce is making threes again. Brunson's been awesome on drives. He's kind of been a little hit or miss on making shots, but he's been really aggressive. I think his role is really good. So, yeah, I think the Knicks are in a good spot, and I almost want to bet them. I just think they have a lot of advantages here. I get a little bit nervous because I feel like it's recency bias, but I like how they're playing. And providing – if Grimes could take Rozier out of the mix, I mean, this could get really ugly again. They've had 2 just fantastic wins in the last 2 games.
Grimes has been shutting down some guys, too. Like, they've been sticking on some tough assignments. He's been winning. So
Donnie and Trey.
I can't say good enough things about Quentin Grimes. He's been awesome.
And regarding RJ Barrett, I mean, if you shoot like a 4, you defend like a 4, you pass like a 4, maybe you're a 4.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't do any of the things like a normal wing does them. So maybe he is a power forward. Maybe we can go with that. And don't expect Evan Fournier to get back in the rotation. He's out viewing World Cup soccer games. So he will be back once the World Cup in France's run is over. All right, let's move on to the Magic. Still shorthanded. Wendell Carter Jr., Gary Harris, Jalen Suggs, Chuma Okeke. They are all out. They have gotten back Markelle Fultz and Cole Anthony, so that's kind of, piece together things. They're going to get back Mo Bamba tonight. What does this mean for the Orlando rotation that has inserted Mo Wagner from off the injured list into the starting lineup and playing heavy minutes with the return of Mo Bamba tonight? I'll start with you, Mike.
Yeah, Godspeed to Mo Wagner because you're going to get Pascal Siakam all game long. We saw him get the Giannis matchup. Giannis and Pascal certainly different, but just from how they like to score with their driving, Pascal does it a little bit differently, but kind of a similar cover. So I would expect Mo to pick up that matchup. I think Bamba, who came off the bench the last time, it's fine. Him and Bol are kind of defensively the same, sort of a role helper, rim protector kind of a spot. So I would expect a similar starting lineup there. And I hammered Raps -7 here. The Magic are giving up about 17% turnover rate. That's the second highest in the league. Houston's obviously number 1. The Raptors have the best transition offense. The Magic can't keep teams in transition. I think they're 25th in the NBA at frequency. It's just like such a Raptor spot. And this is one of my favorite things to bet. So I think the line has moved to like 8. And I would probably still take that. I think the Raptors just completely smack this Magic team. And should mention too, poor Paolo. He'll get OG Anunoby as well. So putting a bad matchup on him, it just seems like really thin for the Magic to hang around in this game.
Justin, anything to add there? What does Mo Bamba's return do to the rotation for Orlando, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we saw him play behind Mo Wagner. I think that's going to continue to be the case. Mo Bamba, Terrence Ross. I think that we saw the biggest losers in that rotation. Against the Clippers, and I don't have too much to add beyond what Mike said. I like the Raptors in this one as well. We got some injury updates from their coach that it doesn't look like Suggs, Wendell, and Chuma are too close to returning. He just said they're like doing stuff on the court right now, and Suggs is like dealing with like lingering soreness and pain in that ankle. So looks like this is kind of be the group in the rotation for a little bit longer.
All right.
We should add while we're here. I just want to note on the Raptors rotation. Nick Nurse is back, baby. He said after the game he likes 8-man rotation and he's going to stick with it. So I would expect pretty similar look from them, which is great, man. I mean, we love 8-man rotations. Pascal Siakam said he wants to play minutes. If this game's not true blowout, man, Pascal could really smash in this spot. I really like it for him, and he had a really good game against them last time.
My guy. Gallagher, you have Danuel House listed under this doubtful announce tag. I see him listed as questionable on the injury report. Do you have more information on this injury report?
I may have just put him in the wrong spot.
Okay.
Okay. I don't. Yeah.
Do you expect
I don't
him
really
to be
care.
available tonight?
I think so. I don't think it matters though. I mean,
Okay.
he's been kind of useful in the zone scheme they've been running, but I don't think it really matters too much. They'd probably just mix it up. Maybe throw Matisse, or it would be pretty low key. I don't think it really matter.
Yeah. Do you have any follow ups from Wednesday's show about Edmund Sumner's butt?
Oh, I do not. Well, I forgot to mention too, and we mentioned this on the pod, and that's kind of why I wanted to put it on there, because it's such a hilarious story. We talked about it on the podcast. If you haven't checked it out yet, there was this quote from Jacques Vaughn comparing consistency from the Nets and not having it to the Walmart movies, or the Hallmark movies, and just because they're all the same, like they all just have the same story over and over again. He wants his team to be like Hallmark movies, where it's the same thing over and over and over again. And like my girlfriend watches that crap. It's so bad. It just drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to note that. But yeah, his butt is okay.
Well, while we're on Philadelphia and the Lakers, let's talk about AD's tag today, which is probable. Just looking to make sure how this is listed today. Probable non-COVID illness. Yes. The illness tag is what is the listing today. It was not listed on Wednesday, their last game, or Tuesday.
It didn't meet the threshold of the 105.5 fever,
exactly.
to get listed. It was
exactly
just under.
Exactly. So AD plays 8 minutes, leaves the game early, misses the next game. LeBron sits the next game on the second night of a back-to-back on Wednesday. They get worked. They're both listed probable tonight. National television game. Any reason for concern? Justin, I'll start with you, specifically on the AD side of things.
Any reason for concern with AD? Is that an actual question?
I'm giving it to you, man. It's just laying it up right there.
I have 5 versions of drafts ready for AD tonight already. But yeah, great to see the Lakers actually list AD on the injury report this time with an illness. This game environment isn't the greatest. It's going to be a little slower. The defenses are pretty solid. So if I'm going to choose, I'm going to choose LeBron, just because I just have too much PTSD from AD with the illness, with the back, with the insert other body part here concerns. So I think LeBron can still win in this spot, and this total isn't terrible. It's 227.5. So there's still going to be some production out there, but I would probably, this has killed me in the past because AD has had that. We've talked about this on the show repeatedly, the back re-aggravation risk, and then he just went on the rampage where he was just murdering despite that. But I would lean LeBron over AD here if I had to choose.
Yeah, I agree. And he was, quote, pain-free before, of course, he goes down with the illness that was not listed, because that's what the Lakers do here. But yeah, I think he could LeBron could take care of PJ Tucker for sure. So I definitely think it's a better matchup there. And then the Sixers have been playing really good defense. Curious to see if bringing in James Harden can keep that going. But yeah, I'm with you. They play second slowest offensive pace in the NBA. Their transition defense has been fixed. They are, in the last month, 5th in transition defense after being historically bad in their first 6-7 games. So yeah, shout out to Doc Rivers. Everyone wanted to fire him, but I think he's kind of righted the ship here.
Shout out to D'Anthony Melton for saving Doc Rivers' job.
Yeah.
I would also like to know, do you guys know who the worst rebounding team in the NBA is this year?
I'm gonna guess the Lakers.
It's the Philadelphia 76ers when Joel plays.
When
Embiid plays, the Sixers have a 46.5 rebound percentage this year. That would be worst in the league by almost a full point compared to some of the other terrible, terrible rebounding teams. The Nets, one of them. I don't know what's going on when Embiid's out there, but they cannot rebound the basketball this year. The good news, so AD over the last 10 games before that injury was averaging 15 rebounds a game. So pretty good spot for rebounds for Anthony Davis, but the Philadelphia 76ers also allow the lowest opposing center field goal percentage in the league. Yep. So not a great spot for offensive value going up against Embiid, but for some reason the Sixers cannot rebound the ball when he's in the game. It's been just a travesty all year.
Did you look at that for last year too? I was wondering if that held over a bigger sample.
I did not. It's a quick stat muse search, so I can just change some wording though and figure it out real quickly. So I will do that while Justin, you can talk about the return of Ben Simmons.
So let's talk about Ben Simmons. I have some stuff written down. So Ben Simmons back after missing last 4 games. Really curious to see his minutes here. So he talked at length and gave some quotes about the injury, his status. He's dealt with that back, that sore knee, that calf strain. He said they think all 3 are related. And he talked about how his injury was a combination of not playing for a while, the amount of minutes he was playing, and also playing in back-to-backs. Said it was a lot of load for a comeback from the back injury. And he also added that the approach will most likely change and be different moving forward. He isn't sure whether that's going to be fewer minutes or whether that's going to be him sitting out back-to-back. So really curious to see what Simmons' minutes look like tonight. We saw the first game he played in his return, he played like 16 minutes. The next time he came back from injury, he played 20 and a half minutes. So really interested to see how much they limited. If he was playing like 33, 34 minutes per game before that injury, I just think they probably scale that back a little bit, just given he suffered 3 injuries already to start the season. So he should start, move Joe Harris back to his usual reserve role. But really interested to see what his minutes look like.
Yeah, he was getting, like you said, like mid 30s, and we could pretty much expect him not to play tomorrow. Curious to see if KD is out tomorrow. They really want to go 6-1 on this homestand, so I think they're going to really go for it today. And I'm with you. I kind of want to bet them, as you mentioned earlier. But they're on the road tomorrow. Start a road trip. Seems like a pretty good spot just to take everybody off. They've been playing great lately, so they've certainly earned some time off. Quote from Jock Vaughn on top of the homework stuff. He said he did want to kind of keep KD and Royce O'Neal's minutes in check. Obviously, Kyrie had some time off, which we won't get into. So he feels okay about his minutes. I like his role today. I like Kyrie. But I think KD's minutes are going to be fine today. But like I said, I'd be keeping an eye on him resting tomorrow.
Yeah, TJ Warren will only play one leg of back-to-back, it looks like, too. So if he plays, he's on the injury report, would expect him to sit out the second leg as well.
Stat Boy update. The last 2 years with Joel Embiid in games, the overall sample has been about the same, about 50% rebound rate with or without. This year, 16 games, though, with Embiid of the 24 or whatever, 46.5 rebound percentage this year.
Yeah, I think Brooklyn's like 46, like high 46s. I think the Mavs.
I think it's like 47.3 or something like that. I was looking at Hollinger's page earlier today. All right, last note I wanted to leave on minutes for Chris Paul tonight. What are your guys' expectations there as he's kind of returning? And I mean, it's hard to tell after the last game when he returns and they lose by 50, 60, 40. I don't know what it ended at. I turned it off in the third quarter. What are your thoughts on Chris Paul's minutes tonight, Justin?
Let me pull up my projection. Go ahead, Mike. I'll come in second behind you.
Yeah, I think low 30. I think 31, 32 is. I didn't check our minutes yet. I'm doing that after this, but I think 31, 32 is a fair expectation. Came out of it okay. They just looked like crap. It had nothing to do with Chris Paul. Boston just out executed the S word out of them. I won't curse on the free stuff, but so I think 31 is 30-31 is probably where I'd have them.
Yeah. So they're playing. Who are they playing today? They're playing
the Pels.
And that's gonna be. I actually have him at like 31 and a half. He played 17 minutes in the first half on Wednesday, so pretty healthy workload. Could see him getting up to 32 and a half too, depending on how close this one gets. So I think we should see pretty regular minutes for CP3 tonight.
Yeah, they pulled the plug real early here. As
they should have.
We all did.
Dude, the Celtics, man. Celtics, like historically all-time great offense. They have an insane defense with just the individual pieces that's playing a lot better, that hasn't had Time Lord at all this season. This team,
it's been a bit open the last few years in the NBA. We haven't felt since basically, the Warriors KD years that there was a team that was like a juggernaut. I don't know if the general perception has shifted in that direction, but I think we're going to get there in a few months if people aren't there already on what Boston's doing this year.
Yeah, shout out to me for having a reach on the first round and picking Jason Tatum in the My Guy draft.
And let's talk about Malcolm Brogdon. I mean, this dude shooting 50, 49, 86 this season might be the best off-season addition
easily.
Of any.
We all knew that.
We all said it at the time. It was the absolute perfect acquisition that they could go out and make that was available to them. It was
what will be number 2? Malik Monk. Malik Monk's been really good.
He's been like the engine behind this Kings team. He's been really big for them.
That Monk or Herter, one of those guys in Sacramento. They've done some good work.
Imagine doubting the Sacramento Kings.
I know.
Yeah.
There's just so much history. That's gonna be my weakest of the takes.
You're too tied to big sample. It's all about the small samples, Dink. You just got to do one game.
It's all about the small sample.
My sample.
My middle IQ brain could not envision the beam, so I was fading the beam this year. Unfortunate for me. All right, that'll do it for today's edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. As always, please support the people who support us. This show is brought to you by our friends at Underdog Fantasy. They have daily NBA snake drafts for money, running in addition to many formats of NFL contests, still running for huge prizes, including these playoff contests, which I love. I love that they get released this early in the season, so you have to guess it, like who's going to make the playoffs. I think it's a bunch of edge on the NFL side. Make sure to play those. If you're playing NBA Pick'em and you're an Established Run subscriber, in-season subscribers can use our tools to compare ETR projections to their Pick'em games. If you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, use promo code ETR for a matching deposit bonus up to $100. That's promo code ETR at underdogfantasy.com. Make sure to follow them at underdog __ NBA.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Underdog _ NBA for the best news and injury information in the business. If you would like to see more of our content behind the paywall today, it'll be myself and Chris Lafakis behind the paywall tonight at 5:00 doing the DFS show. No Gallagher. He gets the night off tonight. You can find his premium content with all the explicit language that he keeps off of these free shows. You can find that later on next week or on the next spaces he puts up or whatever it is.
Can I add? I was excited to come on today. Actually, Nike. You may notice all the Nike ads on this when I show the box scores. I went to town. Nike had so many jerseys on sale. I had a Zion jersey. I was ready to rock that. My Dame Authentic, feeling pretty good. So
just start building out the office. We'll have Mike in the chat and dropping those hot fire takes like the Dame Lillard flag plant last night. Also, our props packages as well are available for weekly subscriptions. If you are interested in checking those out, please make sure to read the frequently asked questions. It's really important to understand what you're getting into with the props packages, but we continue to roll their 10th straight winning night in a row last night. So it's been very, very hot. If you're uninterested in supporting us with your hard-earned dollars, please consider supporting us with your hard-earned clicks. You can subscribe to this channel. Make sure you get notifications whenever we go live. And you, of course, can smash that like button and feed that algorithm, a hungry algorithm going into the weekend. Nom, 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 nom. See you guys next week.